Next up, we have Dr. Kyle Jones as our keynote speaker. He's one of Layla and I's favorite Madsen attendings. And, you ask, why is he our favorite? Well, let's be honest. If anyone thinks that Layla and I are funny, it's Dr. Jones. Just come on over to the Madsen resident room on a Monday afternoon, and you'll see that the jokes actually never stop. Please welcome Dr. Kyle Jones.
Thank you. So I know a joke that I wanted to share with you, but it wasn't really appropriate for this setting. And so I decided to ask Dr. Brian Bircha, who's actually not here tonight, if he knew any jokes. And so now I know two jokes that are not appropriate to share in this setting. So you'll have to forgive me for that. I am very grateful to be here. It's a lot of pressure to be the keynote speaker and I was told well, you have to offer your advice and all of these things that are going to help them throughout the rest of their careers. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just find another speech that was really good. I'll give that one. Or you have to come up with these random yet cheeky aphorisms that are very clever to guide you throughout your life. I'm not very good at that. I even had ChatGPT do my first draft, but it was mostly a diatribe about the feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake. And so, I don't know, it didn't really help that much. But in all honesty, I want to lean a little bit into my poetic and pensive side to offer a couple of things that I hope will be useful for many of you, not only in your careers, but in your life. I have written about and spoken of and experienced mental illness throughout the years, as this has been a very important topic to me. And the question that I always face, both from others and myself, is why is it such a big deal now? Why is it so much worse? And as with any complicated problem, there are multiple reasons and multiple causes. However, there is one that really sticks out in my mind as being one of the most prominent reasons for this. And that is that the world crowds out our inner stillness, our ability to just sit alone with our thoughts. We have those constant distractions and constant dings and constant news articles and everything that pop up on your phone and everything. And everyone that you work with, especially your faculty attendings, need more of you and want more of you and want your notes done right now. And so my first piece of advice is to embrace your inner stillness. Take time to just sit alone with your thoughts. Take time to make a contemplative life, to come up with an interior life that goes beyond your interactions with the external world. Many people call this by different names, mindfulness, or meditation, or prayer, or spirituality, or religious rites, or just being, just sitting and being. But this is so important. And for many, I know we're thinking, and I had this same thought, well, that's not really practical because I have all these things going on. I have work, I have family, I have all of these things. I don't have time to do that. But I think that just underscores the need for it. And so forge and feed that inner stillness intentionally. It's not zoning out. It's not just sitting there trying to mindlessly watch a YouTube video. Be proactive with it. Be alone with your thoughts. I want to share with you one of my favorite poems written by the great Walt Whitman. It says, "When I heard the learned astronomer when the proofs, the figures were ranged in columns before me, when I was shown the charts and diagrams to add, divide, and measure them, when I, sitting, heard the astronomer where he lectured with much applause in the lecture room, how soon unaccountable I became tired and sick, till rising and gliding out, I wandered off by myself in the mystical, moist night air, and from time to time looked up in perfect stillness at the stars. Now, it may be a bit presumptuous of me to now discuss the meaning of life, and yet here we are. So, the second item I want to mention is, for me, the meaning of life is simply love. And it's all kinds of love, whether romantic or platonic or compassion for others. It's all of these things. And it's one of those things where it is so crucial to me in terms of who I am and who I want to be. It doesn't mean I'm always good at it or that I always have kindness or love and the desire to serve, but it's something where it's the thing that means most, that is most important to me, that means the most. Medicine is a manifestation of love and compassion, but it's also a covenant with ourselves to expand the bounds and the meaning of that love for ourselves and others. And this is why we do what we do. It's why we're here now. It's what drives us. And so because of that, many of the struggles that we often experience professionally come from others who put stumbling blocks in our way to achieve that ideal. But we can all recall times where someone has shown us great love or kindness or appreciation, because those moments ripple through time and space beyond just the moment they're given. And hopefully we're changed for the better because of them. Now, this may seem a little optimistic, naive, or unrealistic, but we're in medicine. Since when do we back down from something against the odds that's the right thing to do? There are also those times where you may experience a lot of difficulty because you love someone, whether it's your patient, personal life, etc. However, loving someone is always worth it. In the end, it always helps us progress and move forward and connects us with the basic humanity that we all have. Now, I want to share with you a story that has been possibly the most influential story of my life. Every time I read this, which has probably been a couple of hundred times now, it gives me goosebumps, but I think perfectly articulates this concept. This is from the poet Seamus Heaney. He's one of the most important poets of the late 20th century. And this is from his Nobel Prize acceptance speech in 1995 for literature. At one point in here, he references a poem, which is a poem he wrote about this story. One of the most harrowing moments in the whole history of the harrowing of the heart in Northern Ireland came when a minibus full of workers being driven home one January evening in 1976 was held up by armed and masked men, and the occupants of the van ordered at gunpoint to line up on the side of the road. Then one of the masked executioners said to them, "Any Catholics among you, step out here." As it happened, this particular group, with one exception, were all Protestants. So the presumption must have been that the masked men were Protestant paramilitaries about to carry out a tit-for-tat sectarian killing of the Catholic as the odd man out, the one who would have been presumed to be in sympathy with the IRA and all its actions. It was a terrible moment for him, caught between dread and witness, but he did make a motion to step forward. Then the story goes, in that split second of decision and in the relative cover of the winter evening darkness, he felt the hand of the Protestant worker next to him take his hand. and squeeze it in a signal that said, no, don't move, will not betray you. Nobody need to know what faith or party you belong to. All in vain, however, for the man stepped out of the line. But instead of finding a gun at his temple, he was thrown backward and away as the gunman opened fire on those remaining in the line. For these were not Protestant terrorists, but members presumably of the Provisional IRA. The birth of the future we desire is surely in the contraction with that contraction which that terrified Catholic felt on the roadside when another hand gripped his hand, and not in the gunfire that followed, so absolute and so desolate, if also so much a part of the music of what happens. The poem knows that the massacre will happen again on the roadside, that the workers in the minibus are going to be lined up and shot down just after quitting time. But it also credits as a reality the squeeze of the hand, the actuality of sympathy and protectiveness between living creatures. It satisfies the contradictory needs which consciousness experiences at times of extreme crisis. The need on the one hand for a truth-telling that will be hard and retributive, and on the other hand, the need not to harden the mind to a point where it denies its own yearnings for sweetness and trust. Ours is to offer that squeeze of the hand, to bring about and illuminate the goodness that exists, because it does exist all over. It is abundant. It's hard to do consistently, but it is worth it. And so I wish you my absolute best and my love in squeezing the hand of those around you throughout the rest of your life. Thank you.
I'm so sorry that you have to sit through whatever we have left after that. So let's get started.